You are live! All right, howdy everybody, and welcome to the word number 99. I warned you, we're going to be hitting 3 digits pretty soon. If you are looking on BitChute, I did not post the word 97 on there because the recording was all messed up, if you all remember that last week. Howdy Ashley, howdy Shawnette, howdy the Fire of Yah, howdy Sky, howdy Mercy on Us. We've got some good people here. Howdy Dee, howdy Landon.
Hello.
So,
All right. So, let's see here. Today we are still in Isaiah, starting in chapter 30, going with 31, 32, 33, and 34. At which point, after everybody takes notes, we will have a discussion. Or we'll just have a discussion. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and pray in, please. Father, thank you very much for bringing us together again to read your word. We're very grateful for the family you've given us. Thank you. We ask that you would keep everyone vigilant and prayerful to pray against whatever it is that other people are doing, the enemy, to enable the enemy over these next few days and a couple of weeks also. And we know you'll intervene for us, and we will intervene too with our prayer. I thank you for that. Thank you for the bounty that you've given some of us, and we ask for you to provide the guidance. Lots of people are ready and waiting for the call, waiting for you to say go. Your will be done, but I hope it's soon. Thank you, Abba, in Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. Okay, let's get rolling here on Isaiah chapter 30. Here we go. Isaiah chapter 30. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zoan, his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be an help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beasts of the south into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For the Egyptians shall help in vain and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. Verse 14. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it a sherd to take fire from the hearth, or to take water withal out of the pit. For thus saith the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. And you would not. But ye said, No, for we will flee upon horses, therefore shall ye flee. And we will ride upon the swift, therefore shall they that pursue you be swift. 1,000 shall flee at the rebuke of one, at the rebuke of 5 shall ye flee, till ye be left as a beacon upon the top of a mountain, and as an ensign on a hill. And therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted, and that he may have mercy upon you. For the Lord is a God of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Excuse me. And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it. When ye turn to the right hand, and when ye turn to the left. You shall defile also the covering of thy graven images of silver, and the ornament of thy molten images of gold. Thou shalt cast them away as a menstruous cloth. Thou shalt say unto it, Get thee hence. Then shall he give rain of thy seed, that thou shalt sow the ground withal, and bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and plenteous. In that day shall thy cattle feed in large pastures. The oxen likewise and the young asses that ear the ground shall eat clean provender, which hath been winnowed with the shovel and with the fan. And there shall be upon every high mountain and upon every high hill rivers and streams of water in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days, in the day that the Lord bindeth up the breach of his people, and healeth the stroke of their wound. Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue as a devouring fire, and his breath as an overflowing stream, which shall reach to the midst of the neck, to sift the nations with the sieve of vanity. And there shall be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. 29. Ye shall have song as in the night when a holy solemnity is kept, and gladness of heart as when one goeth with a pipe to come into the mountain of the Lord, to the mighty one of Israel. And the Lord shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall show the lightning down of his arm, with the indignation of his anger, and with the flame of a devouring fire, scattering the hailstone. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be beaten down, which smote with a rod. And in every place where the grounded staff shall pass, which the Lord shall lay upon him, it shall be with tabrets and harps, and in battles of shaking will he fight with it. For Tophet is ordained of old. Yea, the king is prepared, he hath made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of brimstone, doth kindle it.
Chapter 31. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots because there are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the horse of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoppen shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. For thus hath the Lord spoken unto me, like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey, when a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him. He will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall the Lord of hosts come down to the fight for Mount Zion, and for the hill thereof. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending as he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it. Turn ye unto him from whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your hands have made unto you for a sin. Then shall the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword, not of a mean man, shall devour him, but he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited. And he shall pass over to his stronghold for fear, and his princes shall be afraid of the ensign, saith the Lord, whose fire is in Zion, and his furnace in Jerusalem.
One second. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment, and a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of them that see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak vainly, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. But the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. Rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice. Ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vigilant shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you, and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, and for the peasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thrones and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. Because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks, until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field. And the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and assurance forever. And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwellings, and in quiet resting places. When it shall hail, coming down on the forest, and the city shall be low in a low place, Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the asses.
Isaiah chapter 33. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. O Lord, be gracious unto us. We have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered. And your spoil shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar. As the running to and fro of the locusts shall he run upon them. The Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Behold, their valiant ones shall cry without. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. The highways lie waste. The wayfaring man ceaseth. He hath broken the covenant. He hath despised the cities. He regardeth no man. The earth mourneth and languisheth. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is like a wilderness. And Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, saith the Lord. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring forth stubble. Your breath as fire shall devour you. And the people shall be as the burnings of lime. As thorns cut up shall they be burned in the fire. Hear, ye that are afar off, what I have done. And ye that are near, acknowledge my might. Verse 14. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Fearfulness hath surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with the everlasting burnings? He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that despiseth the gain of oppressions, that shaketh his hand from holding of bribes, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing evil. He shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him, his waters shall be sure. Thine eyes shall see the king in his beauty. They shall behold the land that is very far off. Thine heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? Thou shalt not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than thou canst perceive, of a stammering tongue, that thou canst not understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. But there the glorious Lord will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein shall go no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ship pass thereby. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. He will save us. Thy tacklings are loose. They could not well strengthen their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great spoil divided. The lame take the prey, and the inhabitant shall not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity.
Chapter 34. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come upon out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off the vine, and all the falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Edomia, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of the lambs and goats, and with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and the great slaughter in the land of Edomia. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it in the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all their princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons and a court of owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow, and the screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall be the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather unto her shadow. There shall be the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out the book of the Lord, and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it had commanded, in his spirit it hath gathered them. And he hath cast them and he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall pass it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein.
Well, it's a lot to think about.
A lot of stuff in there.
There we go. All right. So
Okay.
for chapter 30,
We're getting a lot of staticky feedback from your
Yeah.
end, Jonathan. Are y'all like running a washing machine?
I'm not hearing it.
Oh, all right. I don't know. Well, the chat was while he was reading it.
Okay.
It broke up for a
So
split
verses
second.
1 through 3, I've got
Anyway, sorry.
that is talking about trust in government
Mm-hmm.
and man over trusting our Father.
Yep. Yeah, I think I wrote down something on every single verse for about the first. I was like, oh wow, this is today. And Ashley even said it in the chat. It's like, this is today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So whatever else you got for our chapter 30, spit it out.
It did make me think of like what we were talking about 5 minutes before the show starts. Just fleeing or running to go do something before God gives the green light.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
so
what I
many-
got too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so many of us too were ready and roaring to go in summer, like you were saying earlier. But so many people got just wait, hold
Yep.
your horses.
Yep. When I read that, I was like, it was just we just talked about that.
Yep.
I was like, yeah. And then another place I was reading, Jubilees was talking about it was people that had fled the city actually got slaughtered.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so, because it wasn't time for them to do that.
yeah, that happens a lot actually in some of the texts of just the canonized Bible. People not disobeying, or just being disobedient in that they're like, they got this great army over here, we'll be safe. They've got some hummus, it'll be nice, and they go down there and die. I've got stuff written down, but I'm trying to figure out why I wrote it down. Hang on.
Well, in 15 and 16, now this is Isaiah prophesying before they get taken into captivity, before Judah is taken into captivity. And here it's talking about, it says that the Holy One of Israel, and returning in rest shall you be saved, in quietness and confidence shall be your strength, but you wouldn't do that. You said, no, for we will flee upon horses, therefore shall you flee. We will ride upon the swift, therefore shall they that pursue you be swift. Now remember when they were started, they told the prophets told the poor people that were left behind in Judah, stay here and Yah will take care of you. But then one of the leaders said, no, we need to flee down to Egypt. And then they fled down to Egypt and they got slaughtered. And we're going to see a type of that today, of people that put their trust in Egypt.
All right.
Right? How many people can you think of when something goes wrong, they don't say, I'm a follower of Yah. I don't subscribe to that. Or do they say, I have a constitutional right? What's at the top of their thought process?
God, government, or the temple of medicine.
Right?
Yeah.
I concur, Mercy. Yep. I made that small so it doesn't cover up what we're reading when we do the reading. I'll switch it back. I'll make it big.
Well, and then you've got verse 9.
There we go. Okay.
You've got rebellious people that will not hear the law.
Yep.
Will not hear the Torah.
Rebellious, lying children. Mm-hmm. Rebellious people, lying children. What's the lie? We're not under the law. You don't have to follow the law. I was reading that today. When I woke up and I shared this, I shared some of what it was with someone else. But I was reading in Luke when they're walking, the two disciples are walking with Yeshua after he's resurrected, and they don't recognize him until they convince him to stay for dinner, and he breaks the bread. And when they go and tell everybody else, it says he opened their eyes after he appeared there. And he gave them understanding of the scriptures so that they all could understand it. But then he told them, go out and preach. This is after he's resurrected. Preach the repentance and remission of sins. So why is Jesus saying that after the cross? If he did away with the law from his own mouth.
Good point. Well, and then they just completely miss Matthew, where he says, "Not one jot, not one tittle of the law will pass away till heaven and earth passes away."
Wow, man, I totally
That's
ruined it. No, go ahead.
that's just as plain it, but we all missed it. Every one of us.
Yes. Yep. And like we were discussing on Sabbath, it isn't us. We get blue in the face from our point of view of telling people these things, but it's not us that opens eyes and ears. It's our Father.
Right. And, we have to be really careful. And I know I've said this before. It's not an us against them type of situation. It's we have been given a blessing. We've been shown mercy and grace, and we need to pray for them. And it's not that the Father opens their eyes. For some reason, He's chosen to open our eyes.
Well, someone else was saying, I think it was Matt, was the guy, like, share, subscribe, that guy.
Where's Matthew?
He was saying that he thinks, I think it was him, he believes that possibly we're being prepared for when the whole bowl of His Spirit gets poured out on all of mankind. And they're saying, what do we do now?
Well, somebody else was talking about, because you see those of us who have turned back to the ways of Yah, we're getting put in groups. We're not all being put in one place. We're being scattered in smaller groups.
Yep.
And so what you're saying on that, I think rings true with that, is where you see these groups, when people start leaving the cities and start flooding out, they'll end up where groups of us are. Yep.
Well, look what's happening around you right now.
Yeah. Every week that we go to, we meet every other week, and there is somebody else that has moved. And a lot of them, most of the stories is they packed up and moved. Some of them hadn't even seen the Ozarks, didn't even know what the Ozarks were.
Right.
Didn't even know where Arkansas was on the map, or Missouri, much less, like, where's that? Why do you want me just to move there? And they just show up.
Yep.
I hear it's pretty.
It is beautiful here.
We got water, and we got water moccasins.
Yes, we do, and I have been chased by one of those.
And that isn't like a water sock out in California.
Oh.
Okay. Anything else from 30?
Hold up, bruh.
Hold on, bruh.
I had 20 written down, but I don't remember why. Maybe it was just it was an interesting. The Lord gives you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction.
Yep.
I don't know. That was, yeah, but I don't remember why. I lost. 25 though.
Okay.
Well, can I go back to what you were saying though, Landon? Because that sort of kind of struck me too. And this is something that Jonathan had mentioned before of, there's personal tribulation that we go through that to refine us and to draw us closer to Him. And so that's what I see when you pointed that out, is the bread of adversity and the water of affliction is for our good.
Right,
to get us to depend on Him.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted your thought.
No, you're good. No, I agree with you, because I understood that as we were reading it, but I've lost whatever.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. I lost it before we got to it. I guess it intrigued me that it was the bread of adversity and the water, because we always associate the water with, spirit or the living, something. And I mean, there's like cups of wrath, or the harlot that drinks the I forget. But I just never saw the water being talked about that way. It was just interesting. But in 25 too,
Uh-huh.
the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall down. I don't.
believe that was referencing walled cities with the guard towers, with the watchtowers.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people took that and said 9/11, man. But if we remember, when they get sent back to rebuild Jerusalem, they have to rebuild the wall, they have to rebuild the towers.
Can I use my coin?
Does that remind you of maybe the great earthquake that's coming too? Is going to take everything down? Possibly.
I believe it is. I mean, there's a type, that's the thing. The types keep happening over and over, right? Joseph was a type of Messiah. Moses was a type of Messiah. That type of figure. But until we got to the actual Messiah. So, anyways.
I only had one other thing
Okay.
in this chapter, was in 27. I wrote down Revelation on that.
Right.
That is, yeah, that
Mhm.
reminds me of the return of the Messiah when it's just going to come with fire.
Yep. Shawnette is asking, is 17 similar to Psalm 91? Yep, but that's also a promise that was made in Deuteronomy 27 through 30, saying, if you keep my commandments, 1,000 of them will flee to one of you, and 10,000 will flee from 10 of you or something, or 2 of you.
Yeah, 10,000 to 2.
Yep.
And what battle was it that that Abba was telling them to choose? He whittled it down by having them go drink at a stream.
Yep. Choose the
and
one.
they whittled it down to 300 people going out against hundreds of thousands of. It's not us that's fighting the battle; it's him that's fighting the battle.
Yep.
So what was that battle? I'm really bad about it. I don't know. I don't remember where it's at.
You think that's in Kings or Sam? No, it's not in King. Like Samuel. It's one of the Samuels.
It's one of David's battles.
We can look it up. Lap like dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, Tophet was mentioned.
Pre-David. So he brought down the people under the water. Yeah, Judges chapter 7.
Yeah.
He brought down the people under the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth of the water with his tongue as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knees to drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, he whittled it down to 300. Yeah. Gone.
Yeah, Sky and Shawnette had it there, like Gideon's army.
Yep.
I forgot. I knew it was there. I just forgot.
The soldier's over there scratching his head with his foot.
You've got something in your eye there, Sky. Okay. So let's go to anything else for 30?
No, I just saw that. I don't know why I didn't see that, but Tophet was mentioned in the very last verse. Oh, I'm thinking of Tobit. I don't know what Tophet is.
Tobit?
Yeah, I was thinking of Tobit.
Well, we will be getting there pretty soon. Okay. 31. and this goes back to what I was saying a little bit ago. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. So, again, that was a prophecy of those that went down to Egypt instead of sitting tight.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I'm still looking something up.
Excuse me. Okay. You keep looking up, and I didn't get anything else. It's a pretty short chapter.
I was reading, so I didn't get anything on that one.
Right?
Chop says hello.
Chop.
Verse 5. All right.
Okay.
And this, you got to think about the concept of this here, because I wanted to look it up. But the writer describes. Do you mind? The writer describes, as birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it.
Right.
It just stood out to me. He could have chosen any description of how God defends and delivers Jerusalem, but he chose birds. And I wasn't thinking of like a spirit flying around, which maybe that has something to do with the concept, but I pay attention to birds a lot, and I see how much they watch. And we've been conditioned to think that they're always looking for predators. That's part of it. That's part of the physical, but there's more to them. I know it. And I don't know. I think that they're. It's interesting that tweets.
Well,
You can get it. I mean, like no, it's like that all comes from somewhere. Like I think there's just more to birds, and he chose to say, as birds flying, the Lord of hosts will defend Jerusalem, and that really jumped out at me. That like this guy understands birds. He like the purpose of them more than just something in nature.
You're much younger than me. Did you ever see the Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Birds?
Yes.
So when you said that, I thought, what if he actually sends birds into battle? You get swarmed by a bunch of birds, say they're predator birds like a raven or something like that. You're not going to fare well in that. So that he very well could be using
big birds.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have been slapped in the face by like a chicken, but they're pretty. I'm serious. They're pretty strong. And imagine a big bird that's got a 3 foot, 4 foot wingspan.
Yeah.
That. Talking about the birds though have to be smarter than that. There's a quote from one of the Wright brothers. I forget who, but after he had flown an airplane, he said, people like to just think that birds jump into the air and they're flying along. He says, after having been up there, I can tell you their brain is much more focused on a slew of things than anyone has comprehension of.
That's interesting.
That's a paraphrase, but
yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got? Anything else from 31?
Oh, that was a short one.
Yeah. I think
the only other thing I saw was number 8 was the Assyrian. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that kind of.
Now remember, in our last study too, we were talking quite a bit about how Yah, our Father, chose the Assyrian to be the rod of his anger, the rod of his punishment against Judah and Israel. But then he got arrogant. and started puffing himself up. So then he got smacked down by Yah, our Father. Yeah, so, anyways, it's just interesting.
Right.
And we have a tendency to do that when things start going well, right? We're down in the dumps and things start going good. Puff our chest out.
Yeah.
And then you're headed for another smackdown. Then for another correction.
Yep. Okay, let's go to 32.
It is interesting. I'll just make a quick little footnote here. The second part of it, not of a mighty man, and the sword, not of a mean man, shall devour him.
Yep.
So it's just a totally different, the way that we perceive, like,
Now, correct me if I'm incorrect, but isn't he the one that went back and was murdered of his own children? The Assyrian, the king of Assyria?
I don't know which book that is.
Okay, someone will pipe up, I'm sure. So 32. 32. All right. I didn't get any notes on this one either. That.
No, it was pretty ecclesiastical as I was reading.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Verse 5, people that like to use the Bible for justifying their politics use that line a lot. When they're on the right side of the path, when they're off of the right side of the path. Right? They say, see, even God hates liberals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it says he will no more be called liberal. What does that say about these corrupt other people? Okay. Anyway.
Well, and I remember when, this was years ago, that there was a pastor down in Louisiana it was when Louisiana had a lot of floods.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened, when was that they had really
every year?
Well, I mean, it was really, really. I was still in Hot Springs, so that was at least
2016. We had a major flood that flooded most of from Lafayette all the way to over here. So the whole bottom portion of the state was flooded because along I-10.
So he was saying that was judgment on a certain group of people, and then he got wiped out. his home and everything got flooded, and like I said, you got to be really careful by calling something judgment on somebody.
Well, we're told also not to take joy
right
in the evil people being admonished or punished. And, that is ultimately, like it or not, they are our brothers and sisters. They just have not been heeded the call to repentance yet. Yeah, that's a big one.
But yeah, I mean, think about the spirit, because that's really alive and well in a lot of the Christianity or churchianity today. That spirit of like, you see, I told you so, God did this, but maybe he's, and whether it's to a certain people group or whomever, or just a sinner who's just as much a sinner as we are, but to offer the hand, to offer an uplifting hand, to give them a coat or to feed them, that might be the tiniest start of the seed being planted, so that God is nurturing that, watering that, versus nana nana boo boo, that only turns them away from the Creator. Like, you're casting seeds of hatred because you see what I'm saying? I don't know. It just
I do.
liberals.
Now, what about verse 16? Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field.
Right.
Well, and before that, it said, until the Spirit be poured out upon us from on high. So the righteous would be so that's the fruitful field, is his Spirit being poured out on that group of people.
Could be.
Settle down.
All right, let's go to 33. And what do you have?
I had verse 1.
Okay. What did you get out of that?
It was just, again, it's like what's going on in our world right now. It's stuff that's always gone on, but the Father's revealing it and showing it to us. It was treachery, deceit, taking, plunder. It's all around us, but we're seeing it now.
Right. It's being crafted cleverly here through hyperinflation and other things, but I can see how I was looking at some stories of things that happened in the past, even after they abolished slavery, but they had so many different forms of currency, and what these people would do was they would print these dollar bills that could only be used at this store, and it was the store that they owned.
Right.
And so
Company store.
it still enslaves a people, though they're not, and I see that happening to society as a whole. It's not racial or anything like that. It's that if you're not in that big boys club up in high government, it's just from corporation to certain laws being passed as to what they can do. There's two different weights for the scale.
Well, and think about what happened with, when they shut down all the small businesses and left open. There was a couple of large corporations that prospered, almost doubling their wealth. It was a transference of wealth, and just exactly what you're talking about, Landon. It weighted their ability to prosper and diminish someone else's.
Right. I've also heard of, and I don't know if this is true or not, I haven't seen it, but someone that was traveling through Portugal, this is just an example, because I've thought of Portugal as a tech-savvy place from some people that I've met over the internet. They're really into different programmings and stuff like that. And I saw a different perspective of someone else that was traveling through, and he was like, if you don't live in the city, like most of the people in the countryside are pretty poor. But they don't show that. And so I don't know anything about the logistics of that. That was news to me, as I've never been presented with that information. I didn't even know how poor some of the people live versus a city with computers and very modernized. Anyway,
a good correlation to that would be the U.S. in the 1970s, part of the 1980s, where the cities had a lot of technology. Everything was electric, but I think only by the mid 1970s, something like only 75 or 80% of all rural homes had electricity. I mean, we were nowhere close to 100%.
Wow, I didn't know it was that high.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandparents' farm, they had, a couple of lamps, but the one exposed light bulb in the kitchen, and the only running water in the house was in the kitchen. The big sink.
Well, my grandparents did not have an indoor bathroom until my mom was expecting me, and that was in the late, almost 1960.
Yep.
So,
Okay. What else from 33?
I had 7.
Yep.
It was just, we hear that, and we're not even anywhere near place where I think people are ready to just weep bitterly over what's going on. But I mean, I've seen pictures of other countries that have been taken over, and I mean, there's people there that are just sobbing for the Father's intervention and repenting.
Well, we are spoiled, aren't we? Howdy, Colby.
Colby, sometimes I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
Other than it keeps people in ignorance as far as what's taking place in our society, unfortunately.
All right, let's go to 34. Oops. All right, what do you have?
I gotta look up some more stuff. What's that? Edume.
Now that should be, I believe, the land of Judea. Idumea?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that the land of the Edomites?
Well, let's see.
Who's got their strongs pulled up already?
I do.
My sword has drunk its fill in the heavens. Ooh, wait. I know that was interesting.
I think that's Edom.
In the heavens and come down upon Edom. It's Edom.
I wasn't sure if I was pronouncing it right, so.
No, you were pronouncing it
What
the way
was that
it is.
verse? What was the verse?
34:5.
Chapter 34, verse 5.
Verse what?
5.
5?
Yep. Now, you got to really dig for it. You're probably not going to find it online anymore. I used to have multiple pages marked for the etymology of certain words. And Idumea is where we get the word for the people that have the blue and white flag with a star on it.
This says Edom, the name of condiment. That's what Strong says. But if you go down to Brown Drivers Briggs, it says Adumatu is the name of it, one of the names of it. But then Edom, the name of a god.
It is interesting that he said my sword has drunk its, or what was it? Something about, because I've clicked off of it looking for the next one that I was gonna. Something about my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon it. But it's.
What verse is that?
On 34:5 in the Strongs, when my sword has drunk its fill. This is the way the Strongs reads. When my sword has drunk its fill in the heavens, then it will come down And later on in this chapter, it goes on to talk about the stars falling or being cut down, like that out of a tree. I don't remember exactly which verse that is, but it rolled together as a scroll
Well,
in
if
their heart.
that
Yes, 4. Sorry, go ahead.
so now I'm sorry, interrupted you.
No, you good.
My thought was those are the heavenly, those are the the angels, the fallen ones that he's going to clean out of the sky. That the stars that he's going to that the war in heaven
All right.
is
And
my
so
thought.
I think it's kind of going on, not the final like Armageddon or Megiddo, but I just there's something to so the ones that disobeyed in the days of Noah are locked in Tartarus. I think we mentioned this last week, but and I don't know how many or how they fall or I do I believe at least from my own understanding that the way that we view consequence like we have an understanding of it, but I in my personal belief in that realm is they understand absolute rebellion and what it means to cross that line when they're going there. Um, for what reason? I mean, I don't know why the angels decided they didn't just look upon the women that were and they were like, wow, they're really pretty. We should just do this. Like, I believe that they fully understand consequence and that what that rebellion means. Maybe not the fruit of that consequence, like being locked in Tartarus and chains until the end of days, but when I was reading this, I was just thinking about those that might still be rebelling, if there are any. I don't know. I'm speculating at this point, but it's possible that there are more.
Rebelling?
Yes.
But what is he calling rebellion?
In this particular, or do you just mean in general?
I would settle for a general definition.
I mean, like disobedience.
That's what I would say.
Right.
That's what Samuel told him. Rebellion is what he told Saul when
Right.
Saul disobeyed the commandment of the Lord. Or was it to wait for Samuel? Wait here. But no, he went and did the sacrifices himself and then went charging into battle. Or no. He went into battle, but then he took the captives of the women and all the livestock to sacrifice those. And
After
Samuel,
he'd been told to destroy everything.
yep, and Samuel told him, he said, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. You have disobeyed. And so, yeah, I think there are. Quite a
Well,
few.
in my understanding about if we are looking at if we can consider some of the apocrypha, that it wasn't just that, like you said, that they looked at these women and went, oh, they're really pretty, I want to do that. They wanted to have their own empire, their own thing, separate from what the father had. They wanted to have their own creation and their own world, so to speak, to live in.
Right. I can make a better existence than you.
Well, no, they just wanted to have their own. They didn't want to be part of his kingdom. It was just like, no, we want our own.
Right.
And then you have the ultimate rebellion of at least one that was like, no, I'm going to exalt myself above you.
Right.
I'm going to be like you. I'm going to take your throne. And the father went, nope. Don't think so.
It's interesting because no matter which way you look at it, if we are in a self-contained environment with a firmament above and earth below, or if it's a boundless expanse of universe, either way, they're telling the person, the God of all gods, the Lord Most High, the King of Kings, we can do it better than you. Okay, who's ready to be offended?
Go ahead. Go for it.
I heard someone that was complaining about men are horrible, men are this, men are that. A woman was complaining about this. Men are horrible, this, that, and everything. And another woman said, that's pretty bold of you, as you type on your computer, invented by a man, made by a man, in a house made by a man, with your car sitting in the driveway that was made by a man, that drives on roads made by men, in a society built by men. And anyways, I'm making the correlation there. It's like, it's not our position to say, I can run what you made better than you.
Right.
Maybe that's not the best example or the best correlation. That a better one would be, I forget the name, what's his name? Muntz? The guy that invented the generators for Ford's factories in Michigan. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
He was a shortly person. He was challenged heightly wise.
Had a Napoleon complex.
But they couldn't fix these generators, so Ford called him up, and he went in, and it was fixed in like 5 minutes. And so Henry Ford said, "Send me the bill." And he sent him a $10,000 bill. And he said, "How can you justify this bill?" And he says, "Knowing how to fix it, $5. Knowing where to fix it, $9,995. And so Ford paid the bill. I mean, what could he say? He had to call the guy that invented it to get it fixed.
And I've heard that too. It was talking about people that have spent many, many years learning a craft. Like, I'm not saying me, but somebody like me that has been in a particular industry for a long period of time. We know how to do certain things, and we can do it quickly. And, and then it's like, well, you're charging how much per hour? And it's like, you're not paying for, I can do something in a quarter of the time somebody else can. So in essence, you're going to actually spend relatively the same amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
But you're paying for the experience of being able to do that. And for the years that it took me to be able to do something in an hour that it takes somebody else to do 5.
Yep, and you run into that in any business. What else we got for 34?
Again, Strong's disappointed me because so many people get tripped up on the unicorn thing. What I was taught in Sunday school is a little. I think I was like 13. It stemmed from Rhinoceri unicornis, which means the one-horned rhinoceros. But
Right.
In the Strong's, it says the exact meaning unknown, but it's probably a wild ox. Probably, I'm pretty sure.
What does the Strong say? Probably a wild ox?
Probably a great rock.
Oh, an auroch? Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Or wild.
Yeah, there was that is the same thing that let me see. It was in Europe until the middle 1600s, but apparently it was something that was bred by the Syrians. Trying to find a good picture. This one's probably pretty good. bred for cattle. I don't know how good this is, but yeah, people picture the, pretty pretty unicorn horsey, passing rainbows to fly through the air. It's something about like that. See, and it has
Ooh.
cloven hooves.
Well, that's cute.
How'd you like to get gored by him?
Yeah.
Well, and something else that I ran across yesterday, I'm starting to do some research on Bible translations and where they came from and different things. And one of the things I ran across was in our King James Version, this goes back to bloodline families and their rights. The King James, decided he wanted this book
Right.
published. If it's correct, I've got to do some more, that there are certain words that he went and had inserted, just like Lord was replaced. That's a possibility that the unicorn was a replacement for a ram or a bull.
I mean, it could be that. I guess, and I am kind of going back to our Sunday school teacher. He could have it wrong, but he had built this hour message about or no, that's not what the message was about. But we spent a bit of a quarter of the portion of that evening talking about Latin, and the rhinoceri unicorni.
Right. Well, it's like they say behemoth is a hippopotamus. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Right. Have you ever seen a hippopotamus's tail?
Yeah, I know. It's definitely not like a cedar tree. And I don't want to get too close to. I'd rather be closer to the behemoth's tail than the hippopotamus's tail. Okay.
Anyway, sorry. And then,
Anything else for 34?
I was probably not. I don't want to go down that rabbit trail.
Okay. We don't
We
need
like
to go
our
down
rabbit trails.
We don't need to go down the hippopotamus rabbit trail. There's a hippopotamus in the rabbit hole. Okay.
It's what's going on? All right, I'm gonna do it. But Strong's, verse 14. The desert creatures will meet with hyenas, and one wild goat will call to another. There the nocturnal creature will settle and find her place to repose.
Now that word, what? Night creature is what yours says?
Lilith.
It's Lilith, yeah. Is a whole another ballpark there.
Alright. Just the night creature. Yeah.
Isn't that a whole nother ball of another rabbit hole to go down, is Lilith?
Right? Yep, it is. All right. Well, let's let these people get to dinner and whatever else people do after work now these days.
What do you even do anymore?
All right. V, thank you for reading. Landon, thank you for reading. Everybody, brothers and sisters, thank you for coming and hanging out with us while we get into the Word. Very glad to have you, and I love you all. We already imitated Matt for his like, share, subscribe. So
check that little bell.
Kind of spoiled that one. All right. Love you all. We will see you very soon. Bye.